I think it's Phoenix's year again to make the finals. I think they'll beat Golden State.
Grizzlies, I think Grizzlies will make the conference finals because that'll be the surprise team. It's always a surprise team every year, and they'll be the team that gets there. They got too much power to get there. Like their 10th man could start on most teams, you know.
This might be a controversial one. I could see the Grizzlies beating the Warriors in a series. It would take a lot, but they just seem to lift. They seem to get up for the games that they play the Warriors, like the play-in last year and all the matchups this season. They're one of the only teams back before Golden State had this slump that they're in right now, and Curry's been playing badly, but they were one of the only teams to knock off Golden State, let alone they did it at home in Oracle. So
the ridiculous thing is to
have a chance.
People must say, oh, lockdown Ja Morant, you've won the game. I reckon that is the most cap. I reckon the most cap you could say, like if you lock down Darius Garland, you could say about the Cavs, because we realistically, our next shot creator would be like Kevin Love. Like we need another shot creator. But dude, they have role players that turn into shot creators. Dylan Brooks is averaging 18 this year. Desmond Bane is averaging 18. Jaren Jackson is averaging 17. And all of those guys can have nights where they average like 12 per game, but be really good defensively and play their role. But if Ja Morant goes down, a dude like Desmond Bane is probably going to average around 21 points per game. Dylan Brooks, same thing. Their depth is ridiculous. Like, dude, their 8th man is like Kyle Anderson, who is so solid defensively at times. I guess he's an all right 3-point shooter, 35%, but still averages you 8 and 5. Like, they got good players everywhere. I reckon
they've got 1 through 10 players that could give you 15 minutes a night easily on any roster.
Yeah.
All the way down.
That could average you nearly 15. Like Tyus Jones can, if he needed to average 15 points per game, like just for randomly, he's capable. All their players are capable. Like they're ridiculously their depth is insane. If you had to call it now, what would the conference finals, like, I know it's very early, like we're just over halfway into the season, I think, but what do you think of the teams that will be contending for those conference finals for both conferences, obviously?
Look, I think there's teams that can win a championship right now: Milwaukee, Phoenix, Brooklyn,
Grizzlies.
I think it's next year for the Grizzlies. I don't think it's this year.
Warriors?
I mean, they could, but there'd be too much that would have to go right. The Warriors are definitely there. Just because I think they'll beat the Suns doesn't mean just because I think the Suns will beat them, that doesn't mean that they're not contenders. They definitely are. I would give Chicago a slight chance. Don't think that will happen. And Miami.
Miami, the underrated. They're the underdogs right now. They've been injured all year, and people still think they're like first. And I don't think they've really had Lowry, Butler, and Adebayo on the court together. Like only a couple games. I think they're a super underrated team.
Yeah, and then there's the teams that are, Dallas have been playing better recently. I believe in them now down the stretch of the season, now that Luka's playing his way back into form and they've got everybody in. Tingus Pingus doesn't look like a 7'3" spot-up shooter like he did in the playoffs. Dallas, Memphis, and Cleveland are those teams that their ceiling, I think, is the conference finals.
Yeah, I think they'll give teams a scare.
I think they'll give teams a scare, and everyone will know that they mean business next year. But I think it's just a year too early for all of them.
Out of all those teams that are like a year too early, I think Grizzlies are I reckon they will make conference finals. Like they'll knock off either the Suns or the Warriors. I reckon they'll make some surprise statement, and everyone will be like, "Oh my god, a star's going to totally come here," and then a star is never. I don't think a star's coming to Memphis.
I think they could get a hold of Golden State. I don't really see a world where they beat the Suns. I just feel like the Suns are, because I've watched both of our games against the Suns this year, and I know we're a terrible team, but the way they just absolutely picked us apart from start to finish, I don't.
Well, they're the best
them,
defensive team in the league, right?
Yeah,
best defensive team in the league where everyone shoots threes and DeAndre Ayton just runs around setting screens and getting boards.
Yeah.
Everyone knows their role. And, bro, if you got Mikal Bridges on the team that can guard 1 through 5, like, he could switch onto a 5 and guard him. Like, dude's so long. Like, I know that sounds sus.
Slender, man.
So long. So weird saying out.
He's on the court and his arms look like they're on either fucking sideline. Like, it's fucking
arm
ridiculous.
goes down to the end of the pool table.
It's literally what it is. Like it. It's like fucking boom gates, just getting intercept steals and shit. But no, I think it's going to be Phoenix and Milwaukee again, to be completely honest.
Ooh, no, come on, there's got to be a shock somewhere, right?
I mean, I think that would be a shock for a lot of people. I think a lot of people are tipping the Nets to come out of the East, and I think I damn well know that a lot of people are tipping
the Nets to come out of the East.
No, not as currently constructed. No, if they turn a corner, down the stretch, then I might think about it. But I think the Bucks would get them in a 7-game series. Right now, I think the circumstances are very different to what they were last year when they were obviously going to beat the Bucks in 5 or 6. I feel like Milwaukee have gotten stronger and they've definitely gotten weaker because they have barely played together and they just don't have any continuity. And like you said, those role players are very sus come playoff time. So
I think I've got Milwaukee, the Heat, I think, might pick off the Nets as well. Because what happens if Butler gets a hold of Harden and Adebayo gets a hold of Durant? Whether they stop him or not is a question, but they're going to hinder their performances. And let's just say Kyrie plays some games in Miami. Well, he's the only one who'd have full flexibility, and he's still got to deal with Kyle Lowry. And then let's just say these 3 stars all counter each other out. Like, let's just say we move them to a side right, and we say, well, both teams needs their role players to stand up. Then the Heat are out here, and they've got players like Tyler Hero, who's averaging 21 a game this season, while the Nets just don't. So that's what I'm saying. If the Nets were to face up against the Heat, I think they might get picked off too. And the Bucks are just, dude, the Bucks, they're so strong. Like, their bench is ridiculous. Their 3 stars defensively are cracked. I mean, their starting 5 has every single thing. Bobby Portis and Grayson Allen are... Why is Bobby Portis better than me at shooting on 2K? I swear I broke the 3-point record on 2K, and Bobby Portis, any night, if he wanted to, could come and destroy me. He's just a god. I don't know why, but I saw this man run up to the line today. You know how centers usually need to catch and shoot to do their things if they're going to shoot threes. Bobby Portis, like, sprinted to the line and just was like, chucked it up.
Just flung it up and it goes
I'm like, bro, Chris Middleton over here. And Grayson Allen, dude, he's an elite shooter as well.
Yeah, they don't even have Brook Lopez back, who was a really important part of their team last year. I know he got exposed in the playoffs a little bit with his lack of mobility, but he was still a very important piece in like the Miami series and the finals because of all of that. I think the only series where he really got exposed was the Brooklyn series and maybe a little bit of the Atlanta series, but other than that, he's still a key factor and he isn't even back yet. So they're definitely my favourites to come out of the East. I'm a bit less sure on Phoenix, but if I had to bet, it'd probably be those 2 again.
Well, if the Bucks, even if Lopez plays, when he comes back, even if he plays 10 minutes per night or something, that's still like a solid rotational dude. I don't know if he'll play much because like they don't really need him, but also just if they need a big man that can space or just a floor spacer, there's no reason to say Lopez couldn't come in for 10 or 15 minutes per night and do his thing. But like, dude, if I'm the Suns and I know that we're the best team in the league right now, I'm looking at the Bucks and they're so close, dude, because the Suns 3 stars, I wouldn't say are as good as as the Bucks, but they're like, Ayton, Booker, and Paul are really solid players. But I just feel like the Bucks have the 1 or 2 extra players off the bench that the Suns don't have. So I know the Suns, they were actually interested in Domantas Sabonis a month or so ago. I don't think he's the guy. I really am strong against that. But if you're the Suns, because right now I still feel like it's a 2-4, the Bucks beat him in 6 games type thing. Who's the extra piece? Who could they add to get him over the line, do you think?
I'm not really sure. I mean, they've got such a clear focus on that 2-guard thing with Chris Paul, Devin Booker. Those little fucking mid-ranges off screens is so fucking annoying to watch if you're rooting for the opposing team, because it's just so consistent and so unstoppable. But I don't really know. I feel like just another wing. They've sorted out their backup big position, which got exposed in the finals last year. And I just think they're primed to have another go. I don't really know what the missing piece is.
Or am I wrong? Am I wrong on saying that? Is McGee and Shamet, are they the missing pieces that they didn't have last year?
They really might be, other than upgrading someone like a Jay Crowder, which they don't necessarily need to do. I don't really know where they can feasibly drastically improve this roster. I feel like they have the potential to go all the way, and I think they'll go to the finals again.
Well, they pretty much changed Saric out for Shamet and McGee, so it's a pretty big upgrade. But also the Bucks brought in Bobby Portis pretty much, because Bobby Portis is a completely different player than he was last year. Like, Bobby Portis
clutch as fuck in the playoffs.
In the playoffs, so. But like during the season, Bobby Portis this year, Bobby Portis last year is drastically different. And Grayson Allen, who is
100%.
The big one for me. Grayson Allen is, dude, call him what you want. He's one of the league's most underrated players, in my opinion. I really like the way he plays
this year.
He's starting for a reason. They're starting him over Dante DiVincenzo for a reason. So he's a really solid player. Yeah.